Like the low-cost airlines before them, short-term letting apps like Airbnb are making travel more affordable for people. They get to stay in interesting places and, as the slogan says, live like a local.
Wherever you go, don't go there. Live there.
And if property owners can make a few quid too, well, who's complaining? Actually, quite a lot of people. As we've seen from taxi apps like Uber, the sharing economy isn't always without its downside. In terms of short-term letting apps like Airbnb, the evidence is that it's starting to have a profound impact in some local housing markets and on the experience of some local people.
Our research shows that it's primarily a London problem, but it's very definitely a growing problem in other large cities with a tourist interest. So Manchester is seeing a lot of growth, and then Glasgow and Edinburgh are particularly seeing a very high level of growth.
The London Borough of Westminster is particularly hard hit, with an estimated 5,000 properties taken out of the traditional rental market.
It is taking homes away from people who might otherwise be living there on scale. So there are wards in Westminster where 1 in 10 properties are permanently in the short-let sector. That's not good. To be clear, no one is saying that a property owner shouldn't be able to let a room out or go away on holiday and let their flat out. That's all absolutely fine. It's the increasing professionalisation of this that is making a difference.
This is what a real hotel looks like, regulated to have minimal impact on locals, because, however welcome to a city, short-term visitors don't make great neighbours.
It's been going on for a couple of years now, and it has got to the point recently where we've wanted to move away from it.
This neighbour of a busy short-term let flat in London doesn't want to be identified because she's frightened of repercussions.
There's just no feeling of security. You don't know who's around you. You don't know that when you come home at night you're going to get a good night's sleep. It's just irritating when you're just dropping off to have a sudden reminder, oh yeah, your neighbours are Airbnb, they're back now, they're going to keep you awake.
Often the first sign of a property moving over to short-term letting is the appearance outside of these key boxes. Getting complete data from Airbnb is extremely hard, but we've analysed the website to find how many hosts let out more than one entire home. That may be an indication that they're operating as a business. In London, we found 12,428 entire homes run by multi-listing hosts. That's 37.5% of all entire Airbnb homes in the city. Some of the businesses seem huge. London's top 10 hosts ran a total of 1,634 entire home listings between them. In Edinburgh, we found 1,794 entire homes run by multi-listing hosts. That's a third of all Airbnb entire homes in the city. Edinburgh's top 10 hosts ran a total of 302 entire home listings between them. In Bristol, we found 226 entire homes run by multi-listing hosts. That's 30% of all the entire Airbnb homes in the city. Bristol's top 10 hosts ran a total of 127 entire home listings between them. The attractions are obvious. Unlike residential properties, mortgages on holiday lets qualify for mortgage interest tax relief, and the returns can be 2 or 3 times as big as conventional letting. So much so that instead of buy-to-let, people are now setting up hugely lucrative rent-to-let businesses.
It's increasingly common for landlords to rent property out and find that property is sublet, either with their consent, although perhaps not with their entire understanding, or entirely without their consent, in what you might choose to call a sort of rent arbitrage, in that I pay you the market rent for an ordinary let property on the family market. If I then put it on Airbnb on the holiday let market for the same period of time, provided I keep it full, I will get more money from Airbnb, and so I can guarantee to pay you a set sum of money and make a profit on the difference.
It's possible to construct vast portfolios of property in this way, creating virtual hotels complete with a check-in desk. It's dusk in London's Brick Lane. It's one of the most popular night spots in the capital. It's where groups of people come for a curry and a night out. And it's also one of the hotspots for Airbnb. There are lots of properties listed around here, many of them run by the same landlords. I've checked in to one, or at least I've booked it, I've been emailed some instructions of how I have to check in. I have to go and pick up the keys from a shop, which is, I think, just down here. When I got there, the shop, well, it didn't feel like a regular shop. More like just a guy sat behind a desk with a big ledger in front of him with all the bookings for different places. My name was on there, he checked my ID, he gave me the keys, he gave me the instructions how to get there. Let's see what we booked. So here we are. This is what we've booked. Floor's a bit creaky, but apart from that, it looks very nice, really. Seems very good value. In fact, it says in the welcome folder that the entire building, 9 flats, are available from the same Airbnb hosts. But whatever this place is, it clearly isn't somebody's home. This place has been kitted out. The whole building has been kitted out for guests. It's a hotel. Looking for evidence of any wrongdoing is very tricky. Since 2015, property owners in Greater London have been legally allowed to short-term let somewhere for a maximum total of 90 days in any calendar year. It makes it virtually impossible for us or anyone else, like the local authority, to prove what's going on.
The problem is that it's not actually an offence to breach planning control unless you're told to stop breaching planning control. So they have to be caught and told to stop, and then caught again breaching the being told to stopness and carrying on. So you have to catch people twice.
Although Airbnb has introduced restrictions on people letting out somewhere in London for more than 90 days, it's a simple matter to list on one of the many other short-term letting sites.
It's really difficult to track how these landlords are using the different sites, and so we can't really judge whether they are moving properties around across different platforms, but we know anecdotally that this has been reported, and so it's something that if we had this availability to share the data across the platforms and that they work together with the GLA, this is something that we would be able to keep track of in a better way.
Well, I think that the government needs to accept that local authorities have to have legal powers to act to ensure that when people are letting short lets, that they notify. If you have a notification, it makes it much more straightforward then for a local authority to be able to monitor, make sure that the law is being upheld. Doesn't stop people letting, but it means that the law is upheld.
Other cities and countries are far further ahead in regulating the short-term letting market. Airbnb declined our request for an interview, but said they already go far further than any other platform in making sure their listings comply with the law. This may not be much comfort to those trapped on the other side of the wall or the floor or the ceiling from a succession of fleeting guests.
I'm nervous that it's just going to turn into a strange hotel situation in all the blocks without any regulation or protection for the rest of us.
Really, it feels like your block is changing.
I am concerned that as we see this go on, if nothing changes, the block will just turn into a hotel. Who can stop it?
David Grossmann reporting. Well, let's hear what Airbnb said. They gave us a statement. It says, "We're good partners to London and have introduced automated hosting limits to help ensure home sharing is good news for everyone and that growth is responsible and sustainable. We're pleased to lead our industry on this matter and urge policymakers to ensure other platforms act responsibly in London before reopening the rule book."